Hi there guys, old man Chris back again out in the refrigerator. I've been putting this off actually because it's been so darn cold, and one of the problems has been every night is below freezing and daytime temps not much above, so the shop temperature is just crazy and I can't afford to keep it up to a sensible temperature all the time when I'm not out here all the time. Anyway, this is just a quick review. It's one that Rob Zenudu, he's already done one on it, and I was interested to see the same tool, Rotary grinder, 400 watt, and just check it out quickly. And it is a quick test, just a quick appraisal, just to see how it shapes up. And it seems pretty good. It's 220 volt, so it won't be useful if you've got only 110 in the shop, but I know a lot of folks have got 220, so that would take care of that. 60 Hertz is against 50, doesn't matter a great deal. Peak revolutions seem a little bit lower than stated. They say 25,000. I think it's probably on max about 22k, and that's with my very inexpensive rev counter thing. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description below, which has also got the relevant links for the product. A link for Rob's test on it. He went a bit further. He used a small cutting disc and did a few other extra tests, and later on he actually made a very simple but effective tool post mount for it, something I may yet do. But overall, pretty useful, another useful thing to have in the shop. I said, I think whilst I was describing it, 400 watts is in theory, electrically speaking, close to half a horse, which is reasonable power, but obviously if pushed too hard it's going to run out of steam, but it does very adequate for what I would reckon to use it for. So there we are, still waiting for spring to come, and it seems to be a long way off, and all the projects I want to get on with are still on the back burner. So I'll hopefully be back out here without the shop shirt when it's slightly warmer. Anyway, there you go, just a quickie. Hope to see you before long. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. So this is the Hilda 400 watt rotary grinder. I won't go into much of the unboxing because everybody's seen unboxing videos, but suffice to say we've got the grinder itself, spare brushes, chuck key, and then we've got loads of little bits, sort of Dremel like stuff. A lot of reflection though. Powdered diamond mini burrs, lots of them. But anyway, the main deal, let's have a look. There we go. Okay, now the nice thing about this is having a decent chuck on it, and I think capacity is up to 6mm or 1/4 inch. We'll try that in a minute. Now the other thing which I'll mention here is this is rated 220 volt, 50 Hertz. Now for me that's not a problem because I have 220 volt in the shop. I've also got another supply off an auto transformer which gives me 220 all round the shop in places. So that's the only possible downside if all you've got is 110. But Rob Zanudu, he's already done a review on this, and I was keen to see it and make my own appraisal just to confirm what he found. In fact, he went into a bit more detail than I probably will, but what I do here is, those of you in the UK will recognise that, and I use that to plug into my 220. Now I've put this 1/4 inch shank grinding piece in here, and I've stuck a reflector on so I can test the revolutions. The instructions, such as they are, refers to 25,000, if I remember rightly, for max revolutions. Now you've got a speed control. Now of course we're running here on 60 Hertz instead of 50, which is what it's plated for. So in theory there'll be a slight increase in revolutions. The speed control is here, which goes actually from, well, from zero, basically zero, all the way up. And the on-off switch on here, which is very convenient. That's on a low setting. Now I'm going to crank it up. I'm going to come around the back here because it's going to vibrate. This is not running very true. That's at the moment running at just over 8,000, 8,500, and that's on 2.5 to 3 on the speed control. And I'm going to crank it up. I doubt if you could see the readout. That wasn't quite full on, that was showing about 20 thou. And this rev counter is a pretty primitive one. Several people have got it. It's very handy. I'm not sure quite how good it is up at the top range. But anyway, that's 20,000 and it'll go a bit higher than that. And this was vibrating. So I'll take that out and I'll just try this Harbour Freight thing, which I've never tried yet actually, and I don't know whether that'll run without vibration. It's pretty good. Now I haven't as yet made a special arbor for small discs. Of course I've got a small Dremel one here. Incidentally, I apologise for the old nail. People have been following me in recent months know about my nail. It got bashed. It's growing out and it's got CA glue on here to try and hold it together. Just in case you wonder. I'm hoping it'll grow out soon. Anyway, that's enough of that. So you've got any of the Dremel tools obviously, but the other thing to save using an air tool would be to be able to put in a burr. haven't got anything to try it on. Why don't I got a scrap piece of aluminum here? I'm not very well positioned there. That's it. Now the other thing I was going to try, now I put a grinding wheel in which runs a bit truer than the other one. I've just got a bit of leather here. That was quite a bit of pressure. I was just testing the torque. 400 watt is technically nearly half a horsepower, isn't it? So it takes quite a bit of torque. I know Rob had on his homemade arbor, he had about a 3-inch cutting disc which did pretty well. The other test I wanted to try here was with a 1/4-inch drill running at about 3 to 3.5 on the speed setting, which is probably about 6 hours, something like that. It's a scrap piece of aluminum here. Well, it was coping really pretty well. That was an awkward position to stand in, but that was getting on through, and I don't suppose I'd be using it to drill through anything quite that solid, thick, but it'll handle it. And you have to back off pressure a little bit, because obviously with a 1/4-inch and no pilot hole, you're asking quite a lot. Now I just cleared those chips up. After drilling, you can feel it slightly warm, but I was putting it under quite a lot of load there, and I wouldn't expect to be able to push it too far, but probably for my purposes I would say this is very useful for going back to what we had in there before, which was a small burr and maybe grinding wheel, various small things that wouldn't take ridiculous load. And Rob actually made a very simple tool post fitting, so he could set it up in the lathe. I may well do the same, but the prime purpose at the moment really is just to see how it shapes up. So to reiterate, you'll need 220 volt, and as I say, I think a lot of folks have got 220 in their shop. If not, then it won't suit you, but otherwise it's pretty robust, and the thing I like in particular is having a decent chuck on it, and it seems to run pretty true. I would probably use this instead of an air die grinder for small jobs with a burr, or I didn't actually put this in, but a rather tatty beaten up wire brush. But anything where you want moderate power and to save setting up an air tool, so electric often comes into its own. Overall rating, I would say pretty good. It sells for, I think if I remember rightly, 42. I believe it's on offer at the moment. Not bad value. How long it would last in service is hard to say, but the Hilda stuff seems to be pretty well made. and I expect if it's not pushed to the absolute limit too much, it'll have a pretty good long life.